Hi everyone, this is Michael Zapersky from Business Consulting Buzz, and today I want to walk you through a tool that we developed called the Consulting Fees Calculator, which is a free tool that will help you to get a better understanding of what you can and potentially should be charging in the marketplace for your consulting fees. Now, before we dive into this, I want to premise what I'm about to share with you with the knowledge and idea that really you should not be charging hourly fees. And this calculator is going to give you a sense of your hourly fees. But that said, if you're a reader of Business Consulting Buzz, you will know that that's something that I do not suggest. I recommend against consultants charging hourly fees. You should be moving your fees to project or especially value-based fees and retainer type models, which we talk a lot about in our Consulting Success System course, as well as throughout the many articles and interviews that we do on Business Consulting Buzz. So first of all, let me just share how to get to the calculator here. From the home page, when you scroll on the sidebar of the site, you will actually see this fees calculator graphic and link, and if you click that, that will take you, you'll just see here the page will load. That'll take you to the consulting fees calculator page, and I'll also include the link for it at the bottom of this video so that you can access it that way. So alright, so let's dive into this. Step number one in the consulting fees calculator is the billable days, and you can change this number, but we're just assuming a base that out of the 365 days a year, there's actually only 261 days in a year that are work days. Next, you want to fill in the number of holidays. So let's say you plan on taking a 2-week vacation. Maybe that's not enough. Let's say you're going to take a month off throughout the year. So let's just put in 30 days. How many sick days? Let's just assume that you're a very healthy person and you're not going to take any sick days. Now, this is an important one. The number of days that you're going to be spending on doing marketing, administration, billing. So really this is non-client work. And this is a key thing that a lot of consultants forget to include when they're looking at estimates of what they need to be charging. As a starting point, I would suggest that you figure that you're going to be spending at least 1 day each week on non-client work. That could be even 2 days or 3 days when you're getting started and you don't have good systems in place. But let's just put in 52 days here for the 52 weeks that we have. So what you can see here is now you have 82 total non-working days, leaving you 179 billable days in a year to actually do client work and make money. Now I'm scrolling down to step number 2, which is looking at your annual operating costs. The first part here is how much do you think you're going to spend on advertising and marketing your business? So this could be anything from spending money on social media, on online ads, on print ads, on classified ads, on brochures, webinar technology, pretty much anything that's going to promote your consulting business. So let's just put in here that you're going to think maybe you're going to spend $4,000 a year. Now, this is going to vary widely depending on where in the world you live and the cost of living there and the cost of the goods and services that you're using. But just so you get a sense here, I'm putting in that number there. After we now have equipment, hardware and software, any kinds of programs, computers, iPads or tablets, whatever you might need. Let's just put in $500 for that for the year. Training and education, any types of seminars, workshops, whether it's online or in person, books, anything of that sort. Let's say you're going to spend $1,500 on that. Memberships and associations, maybe you're going to join one group and that's going to cost you $150 a year. Of course, that may sound very low to some people, but just so you get a sense here. Insurance, so this is your office car and so on. Let's figure that you're going to spend $2,000 on that. Healthcare and dental, let's say $1,500. Maybe you have yourself and someone else, a spouse, that you need to include into that plan. Office expenses, telephone, internet, electricity. You could easily figure $100 to $200 a month depending on your situation. Let's go with $1,600 here. rent. Now, if you are working from your home, depending on where you live, you might be able to use a percentage of your rent for your home office. Or if you're just, let's say, renting a very small space, a small office somewhere, and you're spending even $400. So let's just put in $5,000 a year for that. Now remember, this is annual, not monthly. Supplies, postage, stationery, anything that you might mail out, let's just put 500 to keep this simple. Professional fees if you work with an accountant, a lawyer, let's put in $2,000 for that. All right, so now what you can see at the bottom here is that the consulting fees calculator is automatically updating everything that you enter. So your annual operating costs are $18,750, and your daily overhead, so this is divided by the days that you're working here, is $104.75. So you need to make at least $104.75 every single day to cover your expenses. That's important to know. Let's scroll down here. Now, I'm going to come back to step number 3 because it's an optional step. And I'm going to jump down to step 4, which is required, and that's your target income. So this is important. This is when you think about your situation and your goals and what you want to achieve, how much money do you want to make before taxes each year. So again, let's keep this simple. Let's just say that you want to make $100,000, and you can see, so that's correct. Now what you do is you click the Calculate Rates Now button, and what you can see now is that this shows that your daily billable rate, if you want to achieve $100,000 in income based on your annual expenses, you need to make at least $663.41. You can round that off, $663 each day in order to achieve that level of income that you're going after. And if we break that down even further, this shows that your ideal hourly rate is $82.93. Now, looking at that, a lot of people will first of all think that that's a very low number, that $82 sounds like a low number for a consultant to charge. And again, that could be very true. It depends on what your expenses are, where you're living, your situation, years in the business, so on and so forth. But this is just to give you an idea. If we went back here and if we changed some of these numbers to larger numbers, we can very quickly see that these numbers down here, that your daily billable rate and your ideal hourly rate would increase as well. Now, step number 3, this is the project size. So we added this just because we received a request from some readers to include the project size so they can get a sense of how many projects they need to accomplish each year in order to reach their target income. So if we just go here, this is the average value in dollars, euros, whatever currency you're in, of a single project. And so if you think that, let's say, your average project is worth $5,000, so each client is worth $5,000 to you, then you can just put that number in there and then again hit Calculate Rates Now, and it's going to show you that on average, to reach your income goal, you need to take on 17 projects a year. So you could break that down, 17 projects divided by how many months you're planning on working. But again, this is just to give you an idea. So I hope that you'll try out the consulting fees calculator. We're definitely open to feedback on this. This is a work in progress, something that we created because we thought that it would be helpful for our readers and the consulting community. If you have any other suggestions, feel free to get in touch with us. And as well, I should mention that if you're looking for even more information on consulting fees, you can check out our consulting fees guide, which is a guide that goes into much more advanced strategies around consulting fees and pricing, because again, I really suggest that you look at project fees, value-based fees, retainer type models, and not go with an hourly rate, even though so many consultants might suggest that, and that's kind of the common practice of charging hourly. Read some of the articles, the free articles that we have on the Business Consulting Buzz blog, because there are much better ways for you to be charging, and hourly is definitely not the way to go. All right, hope you found that helpful, and take care.